Nobody wants to hear that. Do we have sound now?
Mics. Like it's drawing, like when I talk, it draws through Thrift's mic.
Sound is gone again, Jeff.
I know, literally. So,
And it's gone.
so this is pretty funny, actually.
No.
So if I mute the
Not
channel,
funny at all.
if the channel, that makes no sense. I literally have to turn the channel on that nothing's plugged into for the sound to work.
It's back now. We're getting
Anyways,
this back.
It was a software firmware update about 4 o'clock today too. So maybe that was it.
What a knucklehead. We're going to hire a new tech guy. We just can't pay you. So anybody that's willing to work for free, come aboard.
I mean,
Love
I
to
thought
have
we
you.
had one. That's Jeff. Jeff is a tech guy.
Tyler, you got sound now? Does it
All
sound
right.
good? Or does it sound like I'm yelling in a hallway because my mic doesn't work?
It's not, I'm telling you, it's not coming through there. It's coming through there. But it's working.
Coming through where?
Just talk. It's fine.
I'm good with it.
Jeez.
Y'all let us know if you're having trouble hearing us or if the sound goes out again, because I have no idea what's going on, and my co-hosts obviously have no idea either.
Keith Wood, we don't need a resume. You just show up. If it works, and you're hired. If it doesn't work, you're fired.
Yeah, we don't
Or
need a
you're never
resume.
hired. If we can ever sit down at this table and go live and everything just works smoothly,
Yeah,
You're hired.
Yeah,
We're
and
good.
Jeff's got a pretty impressive bourbon display back here. You could sample.
you're welcome
I mean,
to all that. It's not ours.
I'm
You're
sure
welcome
there's
to
a
all
lot
that.
of tech guys that will work for bourbon.
They said we got we have a good sound as of this moment. What am I
That's good.
listening to?
That's what we're looking for.
I hear feedback coming from somewhere. Somebody. Oh. That
So
would be
what's
what
our
it is.
topic? Let's get to the topic.
All right. So since the title of the show didn't come across correctly either tonight, the topic of the show is an ounce is everything, and we'll get into that.
I'm just going to build software to start streaming live.
What?
I'm just going to build all this software.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I doubt that's possible.
Get on it.
Since you
can
can't
do
get the
it.
original software to ever work correctly, I don't know how you're going to build new software.
Yeah. It's,
An ounce is everything. That is the topic tonight, regardless of what the subject title said when the video popped up tonight. But Let's Talk Fish is presented by English Choice Marine. Don't forget, 3 locations: Spindale, North Carolina, Lexington, North Carolina, and Martinsville, Virginia.
and I was just up there Friday.
That's right.
I got my boat Friday.
Finally picked up his 22
Got my
Ranger.
22 R boat.
And you've had
Going to
it
get it wrapped this week.
You've had it on the water? I'm sure you've
No, I have not.
Oh, you hadn't had it on the
I
water.
actually stayed up till 3 o'clock last night rigging it, getting all my graphs, my Humminbird 360, my Mega Live, getting all that wired up. So she's ready to go to the water now. We just got to get it wrapped first.
So when you headed to the lake, are you going to get it wrapped before you headed to the lake?
No, I've actually got to leave next Tuesday to go to Lake of the Ozarks for our 4th BPT event. And I'm going to drop my boat off at the wrap company, and hopefully when I get back, it's going to be done. And then I'll be ready to fish out of it the rest of the year.
Perfect.
That's the plan.
So we're gonna. I think I said in the Facebook post today, I mentioned something about talking about Santee. We talked about Santee Elite
Yes.
last time we were on here and talked about Redcrest. So we're gonna give a Chickamauga, Bass Elite Chickamauga update. We're gonna give a heavy hitters update that Thrift just got back from Texas, Lake Palestine.
I was there.
Palestine or Palestine?
I've called it both. I think it answers to both.
How about we call it Lake P? Since we don't know how to
Either way.
pronounce it.
Either way.
So I want to hear about that lake just in general because I've heard things
Sucks.
about it. And well, maybe it was just bad when y'all were there. But it's got really big fish in it, right?
I have trouble convincing me of that.
Well, y'all had a
We had a very trying week, and we'll get into that when we
we'll
go
talk about that in
into
a minute. But don't forget English Choice Marine, y'all check them out if you need any sales service work.
Yep.
They've got all the boats rolling in nonstop. They're turning that inventory all
Right,
the
and
time.
if you follow me on Instagram, I actually just posted a brand new, beautiful black and red 519 Ranger that they sent me a picture of today. They've got it at the Martinsville store, but good place. They'll take care of you.
Yeah, and that if there's a used Ranger there, it ain't gonna last long. That's for sure. Bait fuel. We're gonna talk about bait fuel here in just a little bit, but just FYI, we have a trivia question at the end of the show, and tonight we do have a special giveaway sponsored by Bait Fuel.
By Bait Fuel.
And the winner is going to get a bottle of that bait fuel. It's been really hard to come by lately. It
It's
seems like.
very hard to come by, and there's a reason for that, and we're going to talk about it tonight.
High demand.
High demand, and it works.
And
That's
it
the.
works.
Let's just go ahead and talk about bait fuel
All
right
right,
now.
let's jump into the bait fuel. Then
So-
we'll do our tournament wrap ups.
All right. Let's each give one of our best experiences with it. Now, I may have talked about this earlier in the year, but at our very first event this year at Lake Darbaum, I was fishing some shallow stumps in like 4 or 5 feet of water, and there was one stump I seen on my Mega Live that was kind of laying at a 45-degree angle, and I could see 4 bass sitting under this 45-degree log, like see them sitting there on the live. I was throwing a shaky head, and I made 10 or 12 casts, and this is all on live if you go back and watch it on the MLF's website. But I made 10 or 12 casts with a shaky head, never got a bite, seen them sitting there. I opened the rod box up, or opened my middle box up, got the bait fuel out, put it on the worm, didn't change colors, didn't do anything. The only thing I did was put bait fuel on it, and I caught 3 fish on the next 3 casts on the same exact bait after they wouldn't bite when I was throwing it without the bait fuel. So I'm a hands down 100% believer in it.
So a couple of reasons why I like it, and I'll be honest, I just started using it at the beginning of this year. I couldn't get my hands myself on a bottle of it. Thrift only had one bottle to his name, I think, last fall.
Yeah,
And of
I
course,
got
couldn't
one of the
take his only
very
bottle.
first bottles made.
It didn't even
and-
have a label on it.
No,
was
it didn't
like
have a label
prototype
on
sample.
it, and it was a different consistency. It was the trial run, like to test it to see if it did what they wanted it to do, and it did. And now they've got the consistency where it'll stay on the bait longer, and it's the same formula as far as the pheromones and the science behind why it works, but it's just a little thicker consistency of a gel where it stays on your bait better than it was that first run that I got last fall.
Yeah, and I've used a lot of different scents over my career. I've used some of the Berkeley Gulp stuff. I've
Right.
used some of the old Bang
Oh, yeah, the
garlic
Bang,
and
the-
some of that stuff. The biggest thing we all have the similar
Smelly
experiences.
jelly. I mean,
it smells horrible and it's messy. Okay?
Right.
And some of it stains stuff. Like some of it will stain. So let's just a couple of the positive things about this, and I posted this on Facebook today. Is it's clean. It doesn't make a mess. It doesn't stink to high heaven, and it works. I just
What's cool about it, Matt talking about the smell, it has no smell.
right.
There's no smell to it.
It's water based.
It's water based, but it's not based on a smell that humans can smell. It's based on pheromones and stuff that the bass can pick up.
So here's a really cool deal. So I don't think I've told you about this, but Scott Canterbury, my roommate, is all the American Bait Works brand, the Halo
Right.
rods.
Yeah,
he's
he was
sponsored
Halo,
by the
NetBait.
whole deal.
Yep.
He's been a NetBait guy well before he was ever sponsored by NetBait. Okay,
Right.
and this is just a plug to Canterbury and Bait Fuel because Canterbury said, "Dude, I want you to smell something." So he's actually got baits from NetBait that has the bait fuel actually made in the bait.
Right.
Okay, not just marinated in the bait, but made in the bait.
Yeah, they're
And-
actually coming out with another line of baits called STH. I think it's Set the Hook.
Okay.
Or something that's going to have the bait
The
fuel
bait
in
fuel
it.
infused in it
And
or cooked in
also,
it.
I think in the future they're planning for all the actual NetBait brand baits to have the bait fuel already in it as
So
well.
when he opened up that deal, you could smell it.
Yeah.
Now it was cooked like actually made
Right.
in the bait, but if that's what what the fish are smelling, then I was like, wow, that's
Yeah.
impressive because and that was strictly bait fuel inside
Right.
those soft plastics. But couple different things. I just started using it this year. I used it in the classic on all my Walker Hunt Walker sticks, and I used some other 5-inch stick baits there. I did have a question earlier about do you put it directly on the bait? Do you put it in the packs? I actually put it in my package, my soft plastic packages, but you can put it directly on the bait. You can put it on your jig
Yeah.
skirts, put it on your spinnerbait skirts, put it on anything you want to. Somebody
Right.
was talking about rubbing it on their hard baits. Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
you?
I haven't done it, but I'm sure it would work.
Yeah. But anyway,
The thing about the bait fuel, it being a water-based formula, is it disperses quickly, so it doesn't last as long as oil-based scents that don't work as well. Because this being water-based, you want it to, dissolve in the water and disperse where the fish can actually smell it and be attracted to it. So if you marinate your baits in it, like put it in the pack the night before, I mean, the bait will be fine. You don't need to reapply. But if you're putting it on a bait that hasn't been in a package with the bait fuel on it for a day or two, I would recommend putting it on every 20 or 30 casts. You know, I keep it in my cup holder on the front deck of my Ranger, reach down there, squirt some on it, go to fishing.
And that's a great thing. If you spill a little bit, no big deal.
Right.
But it's very clean bottle. It's very easy. It's got a little flip up tip there. Comes out in a little gel form. Shake it up real good before you use it. Like Thrift said, you put it directly on your bait or put it in your bag of soft plastics. Let it marinate. And, you know, I used it bed fishing at Santee on all my soft plastics. And, you know, you think about bed fishing and how bad those fish are at nipping baits. Well, it's funny because, and this isn't true, but somebody posted on Scott just released a Santee video, and they're like, how can Matt catch all those bedfish in like the first or second flip? And I'm like, that's just really good editing is what that is. I promise you I didn't catch any of them on the first or second flip. But that being said, if you're dealing with fickle bedfish and you're trying to get them to hold the bait a little bit longer, I can guarantee that gives you a little bit extra advantage. Anything to help you get that fish to commit to that bait and actually hold it just a second longer for you to able to set the hook, that means everything. And that goes back to what our topic is tonight, is an ounce is everything.
Ounce is everything.
And we'll go back into that. But we are giving away a bottle tonight to the trivia winner. I've seen like 5 questions about where can I find it. I can't find it anywhere. From Marty, from Rusty. So I know Tackle Warehouse has got it in stock, or they could be sold out. I know some people after I made a post
It's starting
earlier.
to hit the retailers now. It's been hitting retailers' shelves for probably a month, I think, since the Classic. So,
Other than Tackle Warehouse, do you know anywhere else that has it in stock possibly?
not right now. I do
Okay.
not.
Okay. So just Tackle Warehouse.
Yeah, but this is a new product. Like it's just coming to the market.
Yeah. Literally, I own this bottle, which is 90% full, and I have another one in my boat that's about 75% empty. And that is the only 2 bottles to my name. So, unfortunately,
I'm gonna make you split that one.
It's
with me.
it's even
'Cause
harder
I
for
only
us to
got
get
one
it right now. But guys, check it out, Bait Fuel. It definitely works, and you'll love everything about it. Like I said, it's clean, it doesn't stink, and it works. But I saw a lot of questions. I hope we answered them about Bait Fuel. Let's get straight into the topic, which is an ounce is everything. And I can start tonight since I know you started last time talking
jump
about
on
Red
it.
Crest. So if you follow Chick, I had a good event. We ended up finishing 11th. Chick's been fishing really weird the last few years. I think
I
pretty
agree
tough.
with that.
It's
I was
pretty
there
tough.
early summer, and it was weird.
Yeah, it's
that's
tough.
a good word for it. Weird.
It's just weird because a lot of the fish weren't doing. My goal in that tournament. The good thing about the time we were there, first of all, which early April, the fish don't really get to spawning good on Chick because the water level stays so low. They start bringing it up on April 2nd. I think they finish the first week of May.
Right.
And it's a very slow rise. And they do that every year. So unless they get torrential rain or something, the fish are very accustomed to that spawning cycle.
Right.
And
so they know when it's time to
That's
get
right.
right. Like
As that
even if
water-
the temperature's right, they know it's not ready until
That's right.
that water.
You'll
hits
have
it.
a few. There were some fish caught off the bed in that event, for sure. But after seeing what I saw in practice, I kind of tried to target the pre-spawn deal because that was a dominant deal, obviously. I tried to do some stuff. The good thing about that tournament was it really spread the field out.
Right.
We have 95 guys in the elites, and I never saw but one boat fishing the same water that I fished.
That is good.
Now, I fished a lot of main river stuff on purpose to try to stay away from boats because, number one, it was really hard to get good quality bites.
Right.
You can catch a lot of, it seems like it's almost like there's an age class that's missing.
like the
there.
2.5 to 4 pounder.
Yes. Well, it's like you catch a 12-incher or a 4+.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's about dead on. I had very few 2-pound, like just keepers in my bag.
Right, just 15.5 inch.
And I can tell you, I told Canterbury and Hollywood this. I said, when the tournament was over, I said, guys, I've caught 80 bass the last 3 days in the tournament.
Yeah.
Okay. You know how many I've put on the board to measure to see if they were 15 inches?
Probably 7.
4.
Oh my goodness.
4.
Yeah.
They were either well over or they were,
Under.
well under.
Right.
Or I had to measure 4 of them.
Right.
And I caught a big smallmouth in practice, but I never caught one of those during the tournament.
That's something I'm surprised hadn't shown up more at Chicks, a big smallmouth.
The big smallmouth.
Yeah.
It
Which
is-
I think you can only keep one anyway, can't you?
Yeah, it would have hurt a man's feelings if he was on them good. Because
Yeah.
one 18-incher is all you can have in your,
Right.
5-fish
Yeah.
limit. So, but I missed the top 10 by 1 ounce. That's right, 1 ounce. And I'll tell you a funny deal about that. On day 2,
Should have reweighed
I couldn't.
it. You needed a reweigh,
This
Matt.
is what happened on day 2, and you don't think about this stuff. It's like per bass rules, and I'm sure y'all aren't weighing them in, but like a Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit or Toyota Series, I'm sure if you catch a fish and it's got something in its throat or something attached to it that's part of the fish, you can leave it in there.
Right.
You'd be crazy to pull it out, right? Because that could be ounces. Well, I caught one on day 2. It was like a 3.5 pounder, and it had a big giant lamprey attached to its belly. I mean, it was that big around.
Now, see, I would have had to pull that off of it.
Well, it freaked me out a little bit at first. And I was like, nah. I got to thinking. I said, man. I said, you know what? I said, I know they're going to remove it before they release the fish back in the lake.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not doing it any harm by leaving it on there and weighing it like that. So I left it on there. Well, I put it in my live well. I put it in my. This is the worst part about it.
I know where you're going.
I put it in my live well, and about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, I went in there to cull. And it had released itself and probably caused a temperature change or something, freaked it out.
Yeah.
And it had released itself, and that dude's in my live well swimming around. And you know what a lamprey... Dude, if you remember the movie Predator, remember when the first time you saw Predator open his mouth?
Yeah.
That reminds me of a lamprey's mouth. And anyway, so then I had to go digging in there, and I got my pliers. I wasn't going to grab it in my hand. Because if that thing would have attached to me, it might still be attached
See,
to me.
my luck, he would have tried to go down the drain for the live well and got stuck in there and died, and it wouldn't have drained water. Yeah, it'd have been
So
bad.
long story short, this thing was 7-8 inches long and that big around. I mean, it's big around a quarter.
Yeah.
You know it was over an ounce.
Oh, yeah.
Over an ounce, 100%. So I got to thinking about that. Then I was like, you know what, Matt? You should have just caught more fish. Shut up whining. You know. But we missed the cut.
That's a
by an
little
ounce.
different than a shad or something like that they actually spit up that was
True.
inside the fish.
That's right.
Like this, I don't know if it should be legal to weigh in a parasite.
Well, if it's attached to the fish, then some people might be so freaked out they don't want to touch it, period, even
That's
with
true.
pliers.
That's true.
I'm not that guy, but I was like, I was like, man, that's ounces. That could mean a lot. And come to find out, cost me a top 10.
Cost you a
and
top 10.
potentially could cost a man $100,000. So back to our point of the story tonight, you know, an ounce, I can sit here and complain it cost me top 10, but I've seen it cost guys Angler of the Year titles.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen it. And the reason you don't look at the year-end standings in the last term of the year and see what happens, you look at the entire year.
Oh, yeah.
In one place, one fish
One
loss,
point.
one regurgitated shad, one drop of water, or 5 drop, whatever drop of water. I don't know how many it takes to weigh an ounce. That is critical. One fish that you weigh on your scale, and if it's a scoreable bass, say it's 2-1, you're not going to reweigh it, but it could have been a 2-2.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Or it could have been a 115.
Or it could
and
have been a 115. I would, in my mind, I would never reweigh one because if it broke the mark, I would be
I
scared to
tried
death.
that a bunch when we were at Heavy Hitters doing the reweighs, and I never gained an ounce.
You never gained an ounce.
Never gained an ounce. I'm just not lucky.
Worked
like
for
that.
one guy, and he earned $300,000 because of it.
He did.
But anyway, Chick was very tough. Congrats to Jason Christie on winning that tournament. You know, it's crazy. We talk about momentum in fishing, and he went from winning the Classic to almost finishing dead last at Santee Cooper and turning around and winning Chick.
To winning the next one.
Yeah, to winning the next one. You talk about a swing, but congrats to Christie. Amazing performance. And I caught all my fish cranking. I caught them all on a jig, flipping a jig and throwing a crankbait. And I'm not a big crankbait fisherman, but it just seemed to be a deal that was working for me. So I picked it up and I weighed in three out of 15 fish. I think I weighed in on crankbait, and the rest of them came flipping the jig. So fun tournament. It was really hard to get a good quality keeper bite. And at my practice, I think I caught 3 keepers the first day, 4 the second, and 3 the third.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's how bad it was. And I wasn't rolling my hook in or nothing because I wasn't getting enough bites, you know.
Yeah.
And
I don't ever shake fish off. Do you ever shake them off?
it just depends. Like if I get dialed into something that I feel like is pretty stable, and I'm like flipping laydowns or flipping shallow cover, like really shallow cover, and I think they're resident fish, then yeah. Or bedfish, of course. But I don't even pitch at bedfish most of the time, you know, practice. So.
I don't shake them off. I catch them. If I throw at them, I'm catching.
That's what Hugh says. I'm like, I'll see him in practice, and I'll roll over to him and say, "Oh man, fishing kind of tough, isn't it? Or you know, you getting any bites?" He said, "Yeah, I've had 7." I said, "Would you? They good ones?" He said, "Yeah, I mean, you know, I caught 7." I was like, "You ever?" I said, "You don't ever shake fish off in practice." He said, "Hell no, if they bite my stuff, I'm swinging."
That's me.
I said, "It's too."
Especially with gas, $4 a gallon. If I drive across the country to go fishing, if I get a bite, I'm jerking on him.
Yeah, it's not fun to shake fish off. I really despise shaking fish off.
I do too.
So,
Like 1 out of 20 times do you go back and catch that fish.
That's true. That's true. And that's probably a good average, you know,
Yeah.
1 out of 20 times probably. But here's the thing. The way I look at it, it's like using bait fuel. It's like anything that you can do that gives you that one extra bite.
Yeah.
Because that one time you shake one off on a dock post and you go back and flip to that dock post and you catch a 5-pounder, you can't prove that it was that fish.
Right.
But if it was, that fish is worth a lot
That-
of money
that is
and
true.
a lot of points.
That is true.
But to your point, it depends on what I'm doing if I even consider shaking them off. All right, so we're going to roll over to the heavy hitters tournament down at Lake P.
Palestine, however you want to
Palestine
say
or
it.
Palestine. Anybody got a pronunciation for that? Let us know.
I was talking to somebody, who was it, Jeff Sprague. I think I called it Palestine, and he said it's never been bombed. It's Palestine. So, I don't know. Either way.
Okay. Well, Sprague, if I'm not mistaken, has a little military background.
I
he
think so.
Probably knows
Yeah,
how
he
it's
probably
supposed to be pronounced. I think y'all, if you're not familiar, this is only our third show this year. We've had all 3 episodes on YouTube Live. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we don't use Facebook platform anymore except to just make posts.
Because we can't make it work.
Because we can't make it work.
And YouTube seems to be a little more stable.
It does, yeah, it does. So just be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that notification bell if you want to get notified when we go live on Tuesdays. And the shows will be archived, of course, on our YouTube channel.
Yes.
All right.
And we should be getting into a little bit steadier stream of shows, I think, for the remainder of the year.
Well,
There'll still be weeks we're both gone and won't have a show, but shouldn't be as hectic as it has been the previous 3 months.
The later it gets in the year, the more consistent we'll become.
Yeah, for sure.
We're both basically almost halfway through our seasons. So that's how many BPTs y'all have? 8?
7. I've got 4 left.
Okay, so you're almost halfway.
Yeah,
through.
we're almost halfway through.
And we've
But pretty much got the whole summer off. I think the whole month of July we're off.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So y'all have couple of fall events.
We've got an August event and a September event.
Okay, we are done by Labor Day. We have 2 in August, 1 in July.
Yeah.
We have 1. We fished 4, not counting the classic. We fished 4. We have 5 left.
Right.
So, so definitely later in the year it gets more consistent. We'll become, and I'll try to slide a guest in here every once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Drifts out of town too, and pick up the pace on our shows a little bit. But all right, let's talk about Palestine.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Palestine.
Palestine. Let's talk about the Palestine heavy hitters and go over the rules of that if nobody's familiar with the heavy hitters, because it's a pretty neat format.
It is a cool format. This was my second year fishing the heavy hitters event, and it's kind of a standalone event, similar to a championship or a classic, but different because the focus is on big fish. Like, it's a big fish event. The big fish payout is absolutely phenomenal in it. For the first 2 rounds, the biggest bass is $25,000.
Each day, right?
For each group.
For the first. Okay.
So there's 2 groups, and each group fishes 2 days, and so one person out of each of those groups the first 2 days wins $25,000. So that's $50,000
Just for big bass.
Just for big bass. And then the elimination round, big fish is $50,000, and on the championship round it's $100,000, which that's pretty amazing to me. But the way you qualify for it is through the regular season MLF BPT events. Your single heaviest bass at each of the lakes. So for 7 events, your heaviest bass all totals up to qualifications for the heavy hitters event. And they take the top 30 each year qualifies. So I ended up qualifying this year, and
what did it take to qualify? Because that's an interesting number.
I can look it up.
I would have no
but
idea.
I don't remember what it was. I think it's usually a little over a 5-pound average.
Okay, so a 5-pounder per tournament would have
Right.
got you there. After 3 events, you needed 15 pounds.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes. And this year it's going to be a little different because we had the first event was at Bussy Break, and all the giants were caught, and then Fork, obviously a lot of giants caught there. But
above average, probably.
right, yeah. I think after the first 2 events, there were 3 of us that had almost 20 pounds. Or 2 guys actually had over 20 pounds for their 2 heaviest bass. Yeah, it was insane. So, and the format's a little different in heavy hitters as far as the weight. So the first 2 rounds and the elimination round, it's a 2-pound minimum like all the BPT events. But when you get to the 3rd round, they up it to a 3-pound minimum.
Okay, so I saw the final round.
Right.
And they're weighing like 210s, and I'm like, why does that fish not count? I'm like,
Right.
that's a good fish.
Yeah.
And then I realized it was a 3-pound minimum. I'm like, oh, that. So Keith Wood asked, think the 3-pound limit. hurt the tournament. Well, to your point, it only happened in the final round, right?
Right. It only happened in the final round.
That's an
But,
interesting rule
yes,
deal.
That's a cool deal, but it kind of being that unique format and a non-points event, I think it's awesome to have that high limit because it forces guys to maybe fish outside their comfort zone. Like you have to fish for bigger fish. Like guys could have went around and probably caught a lot of 2.5 pounders. I'm sure.
There was quite a few 2.8s, 2.7s
Right.
caught,
Right, but I mean, he ended up winning the event bed fishing, but I'm sure he passed up a lot of 2.5, 2.25 pound fish, because he knew it was non-scoreable that final day. But it's a unique format, and I ended up not doing very well. I think I ended up 12th in my group, and we kind of had some difficult scenarios for practice there. I think the wind blew 40 mile an hour both days of practice. And
Is that a big lake? Does it get
it's
rough?
25,000 acres, but
Okay.
it's pretty wide open. There's a straight shot, and you can get way up the lake. There's a lot of timber, shallow water, but you kind of get in protected areas. Like you can get in
Sounds
protected
like Fork
areas.
a little bit.
Yes, it's very similar to Fork on the north end.
Okay.
But there's definitely protected areas you can get to, but I don't know where I went wrong. That's what makes me so mad about that event. Like I had a poor tournament, and I don't know what I would do different. You ever get in that situation?
100%. You said in the initial round you had a 2-pound minimum.
Yeah.
And then it went up to 3-pound minimum. Were you catching a bunch of like 114?
I was. So the first morning.
See, that right there is that's just a little bit of bad luck. Because
Yeah.
if you're getting bit consistently and you have a 2.0,
It's hard to leave.
Right.
But that's the thing, like you're the heavy hitter style format, like you pretty much force yourself to leave. But I ended up finding a shad spawn actually, and
That would have been,
I started on a point like the last day of practice, and I got like 3 or 4 bites and 5 or 6 casts. I'm like, well, I'm starting here. This is a lake. It's in Texas. It's got to have big fish. I'm going to play the numbers game. If I catch a bunch off this point where these shad are spawning, odds are I'm going to catch some scoreable bass mixed in with them. So I get there the first morning, and I put my Minn Kota Raptors down. It's only like 5 or 6 feet deep. And I'm sitting there waiting for lines in, and they're just blowing shad all over this point in front of me. I pick up a Demiki Rambler, start walking across the point, and just proceed to waylaying white bass. Yes.
I bet there were big ones though, weren't they?
They were. It was like 4 and 5 pound white
God.
bass. Yeah. But then I start catching some largemouth mixed in with them, and all the largemouth are like 14 inches. Like all
man.
skinny, non-scoreables. But it was just kind of a bad decision on my part. And then I guess the bad decision on my part was actually started there the second day too, just because I'm hard-headed.
In your defense, of course, you have to take this in consideration when you have a minimum. Apparently, there were still a lot of fish spawning in y'all's event.
I think they were just starting.
Okay, so then go to the shad spawn deal. You're talking about the fish being skinny that you were catching on the shad spawn, so those are probably just like recent post
I think they were males that were there were no female. They were all males. I know.
Right.
I don't know if they were post spawn or if they were just coming in, because I was right at the kind of in the back end going into a big spot. I was actually about 300 yards from where Stephen Browning caught him the first round, and he caught him really good. He ended up winning the first round and going straight to the championship round. And I think I was just catching a few stragglers that were on the way back there to where he was at.
Got you.
But it was a deal where I just never got comfortable. I never really got dialed in on anything. And I don't know what I would change. Like, to me, that's the worst feeling in the world. Like, I can handle getting beat. Like, I don't mind it. I get beat pretty much every tournament. But as long as I know what I could do different and what I should have done, I'm okay with it. But at Palestine, I have no idea what I would have done different, what I would change. Like, I just didn't get in a groove with that lake for some reason.
Yeah, you get some tournaments and some situations to where
You just don't jive for some reason.
but even during the tournament, you're like you're getting bit and you feel good about everything, and then after the tournament, it's easy to look back and go, gosh,
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
What did I go wrong? Because I was getting bit. I was catching fish. I was doing, and you might even look at the top 10 and going, God, I was doing exactly what 7th place was doing, just in a different area.
And that's another thing that confused me. So my second round, I didn't catch any scoreables the first period. The second period, I got mad. I was like, all right, I'm done with this. I got to go practice. I got to go find something. So I pick up a frog, and I just start running little short main lake pockets with a frog. The whole second period, I catch 4 scorables. I get like 20 bites on a frog, and only 4 of them are 2-pounders. And
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, I'm pissed then. I'm like, they're smoking a frog, but they're still little. And then what was really bad was I watched live the very next day after I was eliminated, and Zach Burge ended up winning the elimination round, throwing the same white frog in the same exact pockets and catching scoreable bass. Like
you were just waiting out the little ones.
Yeah, I was so mad. Like, I watched the last 20 minutes of live on the elimination round. Zach pulls in a little bitty pocket and catches like a 5 and a 3 and a couple more. And I fished it the very day before and caught like 6 non-scorables out of it. And so it was just like, I don't know if it's bad luck or just what it was, but it wasn't good for me. But I ended up finishing 12th in my group. Didn't make the elimination round or the championship round, obviously. But I mean, good standings for this year so far to make heavy hitters next year, and I'm already looking forward to it because it is a fun, unique tournament. It's like it's a welcome break from, the normal everyday BPT event, just because it's you can always fish hard. Like, how some events, if you're way down and you don't have a chance to win, you're just kind of going through the motions. You ever get like that?
Yep.
In the heavy hitters format, it doesn't matter if you're in last. You could still make one lucky cast and win 25 grand.
Yeah, that's right.
Or 50 grand.
That's right.
So it kind of drives you and keeps you going.
That doesn't keep you on your toes.
It's pretty cool.
And an extremely tough event like that last day when they had a 3-pound minimum.
Yeah.
I mean, one bite is like 5 places in the
Yeah,
top
one
10.
bite could have been 20 grand.
Correct.
And see,
Or 100 grand.
Or 100 grand,
And
right.
plus 5 places.
Right.
So whatever that's worth.
And see, I think that's cool about it because if you go back to the live from the championship round, you've only got 10 anglers on the water, but realistically, all 10 of them still had a chance to win up until the last minutes of the event. Mm-hmm. And to me, that makes it interesting. Like, I was glued to the live just because, like, the guy in 6 could have made one flip and caught a 7-pounder and won the event.
And I watched the last 30 minutes of that tournament and the last 5. I knew exactly what was going through Ott's head.
Yeah.
Not because I had been in that situation about to win a tournament and I was fishing for one on the bed, but if y'all saw any of that footage right at the end, he's trying to make a cast to a bed bass that's actually under a staircase. And the best
I watched that.
The best presentation was between the stairs, which were gapped about
between
5
the
inches.
steps.
And you could see the panic in his casts because he was making them so fast. And Ott's a great caster, obviously.
Oh,
his mechanics
he's very
are phenomenal. But you could see that the time was getting in his head, and he was leading. He was in charge, but I wouldn't say he was in charge but he knew in the back of his mind that I may not win this tournament if I don't catch that bass right there. And it's like in the last 5 minutes of an event, and you're fishing for one on the bed, and you're trying to make it bite, and it's about to bite, but then you keep looking at your watch, and you got to go, and you get nervous.
And
and
if you watch it, you can hear Ott just every 20 seconds. How much time?
Yeah.
How much time?
And then you hear his bait hit the steps. And it was a really hard cast to make. He could throw to the side of the steps, but it didn't seem like the fish would act really aggressive. He had to go under and between the steps. But anyway, interesting deal watching that go down the last few minutes because I felt bad for him. At the same time, he was still in the lead.
Right, he was still in the lead.
With 2 or 3 minutes left and you're in the lead. That's a pretty good feeling. All right, let's jump into a couple questions. Roger said he's never understood the ability to shake off a fish. He said, when I hook it, I mean it. It goes back to what we were saying earlier. None of us like to shake a fish off.
I don't shake one
If you're
off.
going to have to do it, like I have to. So this is funny. You're going to laugh at this.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm flipping a jig at Chick, right? And I'm not getting enough bites. Well, finally I figure out in practice, I'm like, I think I can catch a keeper flipping a jig. I mean, I caught like 11 inches on it.
Right.
And then I catch like a 3-pounder or whatever. And I'm like, I said, I might as well just shake them off because it's so hard to get a keeper bite. I said, I'm just going to start just trying to find stretches that have bites.
Right.
So I cut my hook off my jig, right? Cut it off. That's one for sure fire way not to hook them. Cut your hook off. I go to flipping.
Speaking of that is true because if any of you have ever rolled your hooks over on a bait,
You can still catch them.
like I can roll a hook point down to where it's touching the shank of the hook almost, and I can still hook a bass on it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. You do that in a tournament, you'll never hook one.
No.
But in practice, you'll 100% catch
Yeah.
one.
I guess it's like a circle hook. Like if you don't set the hook, they just kind of swim around it.
But
pulls
once it goes through like that,
Yeah,
it
it's
doesn't
good.
come out.
No.
You only need one of them in there like that, I promise.
That is true. Maybe
So-
we need to start doing that.
Yeah. Try it and let me know how it works for you. I was running around. You'll get a kick out of this. I was running around flipping. I had 3 or 4 jig bites, and of course, I didn't have a hook. They swam, shake them off. Most of them felt really little, like most of them were. And I pulled into this dock, and I saw this dock on Google Earth, and I could tell it had, water was down. I could tell it had a little bit more water than the rest of the
Right.
docks in the pocket, and sitting on a secondary point, and it had a rock vein running underneath it. So I was like, God, it's got to be a bass on this
Yeah.
dock. Well, it was kind of off the beaten path a little bit. So I had already convinced myself. I pulled up the dock, and I'm like, if I get a bite, I'm going to jerk on it, So I flip my jig up under there, and I'll get a bite, I go to the backside of it, flip my jig up under there. One goes, boom, starts swimming out. I set the hook, and my jig comes flying out of the water. I'm like, what the hell? So I go to the back of the dock, and I slide it under there, and it's just dock poles, but there's rocks, and I hit one of them rocks, hop it over, with boom, line starts coming at me real fast. I set the hook, my jig comes flying out of there. I'm like, what in the hell is going on? And I look down and I grab my jig. Yeah, I had cut my hook off. And I completely forgot about it. Now, fast forward to the tournament, I didn't put a jig on that dock with a hook in practice. I just said, the heck with it. I'll just run in here and hit it. I weighted 3 fish off that one dock in the tournament on the 15 I weighed in. And am I thankful that I did not set the hook on them 2 fish in practice? Did I catch any of them? I don't know. Were they good solid jig bites? Yeah. But that being said, that was I told Canterbury that. I called him. I said, dude, you won't believe what I did. I said, I was actually trying to stick a couple fish, and I swung on them. Jig came flying out of the water. I got another bite. I swung on it, and jig came flying out of the water. I'm wondering what is going on. And because, it's like, don't, and they just go.
Like
with
a
it.
good bite.
A good bite, yeah. And anyway, my hook was cut off. So back to my point, you're definitely not going to catch one of your hooks completely cut off.
I've done that before in an event, unknowingly.
Oh, no. You tied on a bait with no hook?
No. It's worse. Well, it's not that bad, but skipping a jig under docks, and if you're going to make an errant cast every once in a while, you're going to hit a dock post,
You
hit a
rolled your
float.
hook in.
So I had a pretty good limit, and I'm skipping my jig, flipping it around, and get a bite. Same thing. He thumps it, swims off. I jerk, miss him, mutter some stuff to myself. Go on 10 minutes later, skip my jig under another dock. Another one hits it. I set the hook like even harder this time because I know I'm like mad because I missed the other one. Jerk, miss him, just clean miss. I'm winding my jig in real fast, and a 4-pounder comes out from under the dock, eats the jig like 5 feet from the boat, turns his head. I reel down and jerk and just watch the jig come out of his mouth again. So then I'm really mad. I pick my jig up and look at it, and sure enough, I'd skipped it under and hit a post or hit a float or something, and like my hook points rolled all the way down. So I fished probably 2 hours of the day in that event with my hook point rolled down.
Corey said he caught a bass in practice one time on a drop shot weight.
I don't doubt that.
I've heard of people like the fish will pick something up like a weight or something, and they suck it through their gills.
Yeah.
Line gets caught in there and they catch it. But that was
I seen somewhere this year on live somebody caught a bass and it had sucked the bait between its gills and was hooked outside the gill.
Brandon Lester.
Was it Lester? I
Brandon
remember
Lester.
watching it on live.
Yep. And so sight bass. So this is the bass. It was a 9-pounder, by the way. It was either an 8 or 9-pounder.
Yeah.
No, it was a 9-pounder. It was in Florida.
That was in Florida.
I'm 99% sure it was in Florida. Brandon Lester. Brandon Lester's a good man. That's all I can say. He's a good man. Because there's a lot of guys out there that wouldn't have made this phone call. I'll tell you what happened. Fish is on the bed, big giant fish. It's like a 9-pounder. It's 7, 8, or 9-pounder. It's a great big one. Fish flares his mouth, sucks the bait in. The bait goes through his gills, her gills.
Yeah. So it's through the mouth,
through the
gills, and out the other side.
Out the other side. Brandon sets a hook, and the line's going through the mouth, through the gills, and the hook is actually outside of the mouth, technically. Well, Brandon's looking at it going, man, I don't know what to do. So he called Lisa, our tournament director. Well, he told her exactly the situation. Marshall attested to it, witnessed it. Of course, it's on GoPro. Right. And they told him he had to turn the fish back loose.
Really? See, I wouldn't have thought that because the fish actually...
Well, I know most people probably wouldn't have made that phone call.
No, you're
kudos
exactly
to Brandon for doing that because he was concerned about it and he made the call. But I'm with you. If that needs to be clarified in the rule.
She should have called that a legal fish.
100%.
I believe so.
But she was doing it based off the way the rule was written.
Right.
Which respect to Lisa for that.
Right.
But at the same time, as a fisherman, and you work, I don't know how long he worked on the fish.
Right.
He could have worked 2 hours on it.
Right.
I mean, and the fish does exactly what it's supposed to do, and just a little bit of bad luck, which I don't think is bad luck at all. The fish sucked it in so good it went through its gills.
Right.
That's
a lot of bad luck.
I think there's a lot of guys, and most marshals, you say, look, he sucked the bait in, it went through his mouth. He's inside the mouth. It's just the hooks through the gills and in the side of the fish or whatever it was. And that's a touchy situation.
Yeah, that is.
But
I've actually another thing with sight fishing that I actually called Bill Taylor one time. We were at Fort Loudon Tellico for an event, and I was catching smallmouth on the bed, and I wasn't visually looking at them, but I knew they were on the bed.
Right.
And I caught one. It's like a 3.5 pounder. I was throwing a little 3-inch air crawl on a shaky head, and I wasn't visually looking at the bass. I was staying, 20 yards back, just fan casting, because smallmouth will usually bite if something gets near them. But I caught it, and it was outside the mouth. And I called Bill Taylor to check, because this was like my 3rd or 4th year. I knew they had to be outside the mouth. But I also knew I wasn't looking at him to see, what the ruling on that. And it was kind of the same thing with Lester. Like he told me, I'd saw the fish and then backed off and started fishing for it. So I'd visually seen it and knew it was up there spawning, even though I wasn't looking at it while I was catching it. It still had to be hooked inside the mouth. And I was kind of confused.
Because you knew the fish was there.
Because I had seen it previously, like that day. Like I'd seen it and then just backed off and started blind cast to it. But that would be the same thing
as forward-facing sonar.
No, not necessarily. It'd be like bed fishing and you pitching your bait up there, getting beside the fish, and then turning your head and jerking as hard as you can.
Well, that's true.
That's true. I understood where he was coming from, and I think that's a fair ruling on it.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to disagree with that, but I see the controversy for sure.
Right.
Rusty said, and I guess I'll have to answer this one since Thrift doesn't shake fish off. He said, when in practice do you start shaking fish off? I said, how many days before the tournament? So, first of all, it takes a special situation for me to even shake fish off. Like Thrift said earlier, let's just say, for instance, it's a post-spawn tournament. Fish are out deep. Very rarely am I shaking anything off out deep. Now, I'm not going to sit there and pound on them. If I get a keeper bite or two and I see fish on my graph or my active target or whatever, I'm gone. I'll worry about it during the tournament. Same thing with shallow water. I'm not the guy that, if I go out there and I get a couple bites flipping laydowns on the main channel like I was at Chick, I don't have to run all those laydowns and get bites to give me confidence to go back and fish it all. But that being said, I'll shake a fish off if I feel like, number one, it's a resident fish, number two, it's a potentially spawning fish, or number three, I'm just not getting that many keeper bites.
Yeah.
If you're getting 50 bites a day and it's 5 days before the tournament, or let's just go to most tournament fishermen around here. When are they practicing?
Usually the weekend before.
Okay,
yeah.
The weekend before. I wouldn't shake nothing off.
No, I wouldn't shake anything off.
If you're practicing the day before, like a Friday, and you have a tournament on Saturday, depending on what you're doing, again, I would consider shaking some fish off. Just depends on how many bites you're getting, if you think those are resident fish, or if the fish are on a big move and you're on a big pattern, or you're bed fishing. Obviously, if you think the fish are in a spawning phase and you're flipping to fish that you can't see, I would not stick those fish. But that's me. That's my opinion, and everybody's got their own. And
I don't think there's no wrong or right way to do it. I think you just got to go by feel. And
yeah, go
if
with
you're
your
like me
instincts.
and like catching fish, catch them. That's what I do.
Yeah, I mean, you can always do that.
If you don't want to catch them, don't throw. Go somewhere else.
That's right. And that goes back to what I was saying about, if you get dialed into a little something, don't keep trying to push that pattern in practice.
Right.
Just have the confidence to run it during a tournament.
Yeah.
Or
run around and just mark everything that's like it.
Correct.
That way you don't have to look for it in the event.
Yeah,
you already know it's there.
We get that question all the time about how we approach a new lake. And one thing about that deal is, if you're on a pattern, you need to know what the entire lake has to offer as far as what looks like what and where, because when you do get on a pattern, you don't want to go blind searching for that, duplicate that type of cover, that type of depth range, that type of structure, whatever it is. You want to be able to be familiar with what's available on that body of water so you can be more efficient with your time.
Exactly.
Keith Wood said, since we're talking about bed fishing a little bit anyway, He said, "You think the High Rock? This BFL at High Rock coming up this Saturday? That's right. Is going to be a bed deal this weekend. Not too clear to see them out there, likely like they did on Norman. In my opinion, this is just my opinion. I have never caught fish with my eyes at High Rock." Because when they're spawning up there, I think Keith just said it, you can't see them very well. I mean, there are some areas I'm sure you can look at them, but that's not a deal that I would be banking on. I would just be blind fishing to fish it. I think we're spawning,
I agree, 100%.
You got any tips for him fishing the High Rock BFL? You
I
got more
haven't been on.
experience up there.
I
than
don't know.
do.
I hadn't been on High Rock in probably 10 or 12 years, but I mean,
You set a jig and a popar.
Yeah, I would say jig, popar, top water, something like that. A top water you can fish slow and in place. Like I like that Demiki D pop because you can walk it back and forth in place. A frog you can walk it back and forth in place. Something that's going to make a lot of disturbance in a short movement is usually good this time of year at High Rock. But definitely a jig. You got to have a jig when you go to High Rock, and I would definitely have the big blade chatterbait tied on too. I mean, this time of year, they're still spawning fish, but High Rock's typically got a little stain to it. Shad spawn should be getting started.
Not to interrupt you, but there's the best tip he could get right there, and the best, most current information from Alan Coe.
Got over an inch of rain 10 minutes from High Rock. Yep.
They've been pulling it too, so there's current, and it's got some color to it.
Yep. So I would definitely have that big blade chatterbait tied on too. Throw around the docks and seawalls and rocks, and just see if you get it on a shad spawn deal. That should be kicking off right now. So that would be my approach.
Tyler must have missed our last episode because we talked about that. We'll address that in just a second. Living the dream. You don't watch our old episodes, Tyler?
I was an hour behind.
Oh, okay. All right, you're excused. Matt, did you recover from the fall yet? Oh, yeah. So Scott's Santee tournament video dropped on YouTube. So instead of just a few thousand people that watched it on my social media, now 100,000 people have got to see it. Yeah.
How is the calf muscle?
It's doing good. It's actually doing really good.
Good deal.
Yes, I've recovered. I'm glad you enjoyed watching that. All right. So this is totally off topic. Not your question, Tyler. It's not off topic at all. But bottom line outdoors, this is a good question, and I want to address it because hopefully we can help him out or her. Buying a used bass boat, what should he be looking for? I'm going to give him...
That is a good question. We should do a show topic on this one week.
Yeah, we really should. That would be... but I'm going to tell you right now, real quick, the number one thing you should be looking for is what's on the back of that boat. Well, first of all, make sure it floats and check it for leaks and holes. Fill it up with water and make sure nothing comes out of it. I'm serious. Like,
no,
if I was going to buy a used boat, I'd take me, like, you mind if I fill it up?
Like
with your
I
hose?
would definitely crawl underneath the trailer and look at the bottom of the boat.
Right. That's a good point. Make sure
I don't think I would fill it with water.
Make sure. Why not? Well, not
Because
fill it. Not fill it. Just put water in the boat. I mean, it's got a drain plug.
I know, but you can do the same thing just by looking underneath it.
Maybe. Maybe. But I have, okay, if you're looking at buying a used bass boat, and this is why buying from a dealer like Angler's Choice is beneficial, because number one, that outboard engine has been gone through completely. And,
service top to bottom.
That's right. When it leaves a lot, it runs like a top. All right. If you go to buy one from an individual and you make a request to that individual, and this is what I would do, I would take it to my local dealer and I would have that motor gone through from top to bottom.
Yep.
I would have the compression checked on it, et cetera, et cetera. I'd have it checked top to bottom, the engine, for sure, 100%. And if the guy says, no, I'm not going to let you do that, then I'd go look for another boat.
Right. Yeah, I would definitely do that. But
of course, you would pay for that inspection. But that would be, or y'all could work that in the deal somehow.
Right.
But that would definitely be the first thing I would do. Definitely a good engine that, one thing I don't like if you're looking for a used boat on the engine too is if it's had multiple power head replacements or multiple lower unit replacements. Because in my experience, if you have a lower unit go out or a power head go out, it seems like it's never the same.
Yeah.
Once you get it replaced, it's
That's
never
true.
like it was when it was brand new. And that's, again, my opinion. All right.
And, ask for a service record, especially if it's a older boat and the motor's got several hundred hours on it. Like, just ask questions like, how often did you change the lower unit oil? Or, if the 4-stroke Mercury's, how often did you keep up with what Mercury recommends for oil changes and things like that? And, if it's a owner that you can tell has taken pride in his boat and took care of it, I mean, you can get that vibe pretty easily. And it's pretty much a no-brainer when you see one that has been taken well care of. Like
That's right.
I've seen Ranger boats that mid-90s that look brand new to this day just because of the type of owners that own those boats.
Bankwood, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. First, let's address Tyler's question. So, we went into depth on the last episode about this, but so we'll talk real quick about it. But you think advancements in forward-facing sonar will the top tours ever go to having to hook the fish inside the mouth? Now, I'm not going to say never, but as of right now, the way we stand with the technology where it's at, I'm going to say absolutely not. And Thrift, we had several good reasons why. A lot of times, it's not just an individual fish. There's multiple fish there. You can't see them all because the angle of the cone, the width of the cone, things like that. There's a lot of reasons, and we went over all those reasons why we didn't think that would apply quite yet. Now, that being said,
in the future, if it gets much better, I can see it.
It could potentially be, but it's not like a sight bass. It's not like a bed and bass where for a fact it's one individual fish. He's sitting on a bed. You've addressed him. You've seen him, and then you have to hook him inside the mouth. It's just a little bit different because when you're looking out over open water or some fish that are suspended, there's a lot of variables as opposed to a bed fish.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we talked about that on the last episode, so we won't go too deep into it. But as of right now, I don't think they should. 5 years from now, Lord have mercy, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen.
All right. Troy asked if we like fishing in Wisconsin. Well, I fished one time in Wisconsin.
I think that's all I've ever been in Wisconsin.
And that was lacrosse.
Yeah.
Yep. That we'll be there actually in August this year. We'll be at the Mississippi River. I am looking forward to going back. I had a good finish when we were there several years back in an FLW tour event. Actually, it's right before my second daughter was born because I had to leave. And it's funny because I finished 11th or 12th in that tournament. And I said, it's not many times that I wish I finished 11th or 12th.
Right.
But if I would have made the Sunday deal, I would have had to driven Monday and then into Tuesday.
Nonstop.
And the C-section was scheduled for Tuesday morning. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise that I barely missed the top 10 and was able to get back for the birth of my second daughter. But I really enjoyed the Mississippi River. It was really...
Lord have mercy, that scared me.
Scared me to death. Jeff's in there sneezing. Did you...
Lord have mercy.
You still got all your organs? Okay. All right. I guess he's good. Kind of sound like a woman sneezing in there, didn't it? A little bit.
It kind of
had a little squeak on the end, like a mouse mixed with the elephant.
Mouse and an elephant.
Troy can't wait to go back. Do y'all don't go to lacrosse this year?
No, we don't have anything in Wisconsin. I think we're going to Mille Lacs this year though. We are going. Where's that? Minnesota?
That's
I don't know. We're going to Mille Lacs, wherever that's
I think
at.
it's in Minnesota. I've never been there.
I think I got to drive through Wisconsin.
Bankwood. So Chris Brown actually said they don't abuse him. I'm going to go out and just go ahead and flat out be honest with you. If you buy my boat or Thrift's boat, you'll be very, very pleased. Mm-hmm. There are a few handful of pros out there. You can PM me on whose boat not to buy.
Right.
You can PM Thrift on whose boat not to buy. But
why me?
Well, you don't have to answer.
Okay.
I don't want to say it publicly, but I don't want to mess anybody out of a sale.
No.
But you know what I'm saying. So, these boats are tools for us, right? But we do everything in our power to take 150% care of our boats. Our boats are serviced properly, and you got to remember, anytime our boat needs any sort of maintenance whatsoever, little bitty tweaks and things, especially when we're at the tournaments, the best in the business does it. Okay, the factory top mechanics are our pit crews at these events.
That is true.
They're the ones that touch our boats. They're the ones that work on our boats. I've never had any complaints out of any of the people that have ever bought any of my boats. If there is any damage whatsoever, which if it is on mine and Thrift's the same way, it's very minor.
Right. Yeah, cosmetic. Of course, you're going to be tied up to a dock and a wave might put a little nick or scratch on it.
Yeah.
But when we take the wrap off and we see a big scratch, I go get the fiberglass fixed.
100%.
It's going to look brand new. It's going to look like you just bought a brand new boat. I actually washed my boat today. I wash it after
There you
every
go.
tournament. When I get home, I have to wash it before the next event and start over with a clean slate.
And
Are you
and,
like that?
to an extent, but
I got
to my point, and Thrift's kind of like me now. He's I don't know how much he fishes when he's not fishing tournaments, but he can attest that when I'm not fishing tournaments, I'm not fishing.
No.
Very rarely am I fishing. So my boats usually have, compared to other pros, very low hours on them, and they do stay. Most all the pros keep their boats in shops and or garages. They're very well taken care of, and these are our livelihood. This is our tools on the road, so we got to keep these things in top working order. But to Thrift's point, if one does have a little bit of damage or something like that, those are typically fixed before those boats are ever even on the market. So, as long as somebody didn't knock a 2-foot wide hole in the bottom of their boat, I wouldn't worry about it.
Right.
As long as it's fixed, scratches, little cosmetic things, no big deal. And the other thing about a pro's boat is they're usually dialed in.
Yeah, it's going to be set up
100%.
how Matt and myself like it, with the graphs, the electronics we like, the sonars, everything's going to be set up to give us the best advantage fishing as a professional. So
Yeah. Yep.
you don't have to go in there and tweak the settings on the depth finders and play with that. You can plug and play pretty much.
That's right. That's right. All right. Let's see. Next year, a couple more questions. 7:57. We got to get to our trivia questions so we can give away a bottle
yeah.
of this hard to find, hard to reach, high demand bait fuel here. Would you buy Ike's boat after he crashed it into the woods? Probably not. I'd buy mine or Thrift's. But he's talking about when he ran it up. Remember when he ran it up in the woods?
Sabine. Yeah, I do remember that.
He planted it. Like he didn't just
He was
hit
in the
woods.
woods. He was up there.
Completely put the boat motor out of the water in between two trees and lodged it up in there. That being said, the guys, like I said, if it didn't have a giant hole knocked in the bottom of it, that's one thing.
Yeah.
If it had some scratches that were fixed, yeah, no big deal.
And that's the thing. Like, if it's a considerable amount of damage, insurance is going to total it anyway, and they're going to get a new hull. So, if you hit something bad and it busts the stringers and the transom and things like that, like, it's going to be a new hull. Like, there's no repairing that. So,
That's
it's
right.
pretty much where if you crawl under the bottom and look at it and you don't see any naked fiberglass showing, it's going to be good.
Bottom line outdoors, thank you for your service, for sure. He just retired from the Army. Time to go fishing. 100%.
Yes,
and
sir.
hunting. Well, I'd be hunting too, but he may
That's
not
what
hunt.
Matt's been doing here lately.
Yeah, that's
hunting.
right.
Like, every day I see a picture of Matt with a turkey over his shoulder.
Not every day.
I'm pretty sure
We
every
can only
day.
shoot 2 in North Carolina.
Well, you've killed them in Tennessee, probably Georgia. He's killed a turkey in pretty much every state in the Southeast.
I'm going in the morning, but I can't take a gun. I'm going to call for a buddy of mine. I'm meet up with it. Turkey hunting is my crack. Nobody's figured that out yet. I love turkey hunting. Ain't nothing like a big old blue head coming through the woods, strutting all blowed up, gobbling, spitting, drumming, doing his thing, and then shooting him right in the face.
Yeah, if you like it.
Not for you, huh? Not for you.
It doesn't excite me.
Thrift had one gobbling behind his house, and he's lucky I tagged out the other day. Not Thrift,
Yeah.
the turkey. Thrift's like, come over and shoot him. I'm like, don't tempt me.
Yeah.
Don't tempt
Like,
me.
I
with
was
a
going to
good
set
time.
up in my deer stand and video Matt hunting a turkey
He
because I
was.
don't care nothing
He
about
said-
shooting a turkey.
He said, Thrift said, hey, have you, I caught, he said, I might go just watch. And I said, well, it's a little harder to watch turkey hunting. I said, you got a face mask and gloves? He's like, why do I need that? I got a condo stand leaned up against my garage where I can watch you out the back of it. I'll just sit up in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't think about that. It's about 100 yards, 50 yards, 75 yards behind your house where
Yeah.
he's been gobbling every morning. Yep. But he'll live to see another
Allie
day.
sent me a picture of him when I was at Palestine for heavy hitters.
Oh, was he
out there in the front yard strutting
Was he
around.
strutting?
Oh,
He
yeah.
must have had some hens out
Yeah,
there.
he had two hens out there with him.
He was showing his goods. Yep, he was out there showing his colors. All right, let's take one or two more questions, and we will we'll wrap it up here. We'll get to our trivia question. I had to come up with a trivia question since we were all running late, and I just first thing came to mind. Best products from KC. Best products do you use to keep your boats clean? Man, I just use soap and water.
Man, I do
I'm
too. I'm
sorry,
the
I'm
same
boring.
way. No, I'm the same way. Like, I use Dawn dish detergent.
That's
Like,
exactly what I use.
yeah, like I don't like to spray like degreaser, like Purple Power or something like that on the boat on the wrap because it can fade it and mess it up. But the Dawn dish detergent will cut through the grease and the road grime just as good. I actually wash my vehicles with it too. But pretty much the only other product I use is on the tires. I use the Lucas Oil trim and shine stuff for the tires and like the little step sides and things like that. But that's pretty much all I use: Dawn dish detergent and Lucas Oil product.
I'm pretty much the same way. I'll use some different things. I used to use some of that Bass Boat Saver. I think Wheeler was sponsored by him for years, and he would always give me a gallon of it for the year, and I'd use it to kind of shine my wrap up or whatever.
Right.
But overall, just soap and water, and I'll take a little pressure washer to the carpet logos sometimes or something if they get fish blood or something nasty on them. But overall, just soap and water. And so yes, that's correct, Keith and Jimmy. I killed my second turkey 2 days ago, which we only have a 2-bird limit here in North Carolina, and Reese heard the bird gobble behind our house and told me about it. I didn't hear it.
Oh, she did.
And
Reese put you on it.
It was an afternoon gobble, and when they gobble after lunch,
they hunting. They
looking.
Yeah, they looking for love.
When they answer you back after lunch, they dying.
Yeah.
Typically. So it was one of those deals that Reese said, "Daddy, did you hear that?" I said, "No, I didn't hear it." And I was around in the garage. So I couldn't hear mine. She said, "It was a gobble. I promise it was a gobble. It was right back there behind the house." And she pointed, and she literally pointed straight to where this turkey ended up being, or ended up getting shot.
Yeah.
And so
did she go with you?
No, so we got a new puppy Saturday.
Yeah, I remember that.
And she was out there with Bailey, and she wasn't going to leave Bailey. So, but Ren came outside. She said, "What is it, Daddy?" I said, "Ren's my 4-year-old." And I said, "It's turkey." So I sat there, and it took him about 45 seconds to a minute, and he gobbled again. As soon as he did, Emily said I looked like I was in a marathon or in a in a short distance sprint to the shop to get my camo and grab my shotgun. I was back out the shop, and I went back there, and Reese and Ren are going, "Bring him back to the house." And 30 minutes later, sure enough, I was coming out with my second turkey. So that's pretty funny story.
That is pretty cool.
That's why they're saying, Reese did claim 50% of the credit for that turkey, which she deserves it. She deserves it.
And you're
100%.
going to invite me over to eat some, right? That was.
I have I have a Tennessee and 2 North Carolina turkeys in the freezer, so we're good to go.
Perfect.
100%. We're going to have a big dove hunt this year, as a matter of fact, because we're going to have more corn around us than we ever have.
Ooh, that's
and I
good.
think, are you around Labor Day this year?
I don't know.
I hope you are.
I hope I am too.
Last year it was beans, so we didn't have a very good hunt. And LaHue's wedding ruined our dove hunt last year.
Ruined our
That's
dove
what it
hunt
was.
last year. We were at Shane LaHue's wedding.
Yeah.
But it was a good wedding. We had a good time.
Running's a strong word, Ryan. I don't know if I was running, but I was moving as fast as I have since I've torn my
As
calf
fast as
muscle.
the torn
He
calf would allow.
100% was not running.
100%. What are you saying, Jeff?
You weren't running.
Okay. That's all you got. That's all you got.
You run about
all
as
right.
much as I do.
So it is time for our trivia question, sponsored by Bait Fuel. We're giving away a bottle of the hard to find, apparently high demand Bait Fuel. Little deal that's been a secret of mine and Thrift's this season, and Thrift was using it last season.
Yeah,
We
I
weren't
actually
telling
started
anybody about
using it last fall, and it's good. It's legit.
It's legit. Thrift doesn't spill a lot of secrets, but he does on this show. Actually, I'll give him credit. He's pretty good. Last question. Binkwood wants to know what you guys use to clean out your live wells. Same thing, soap and water.
Yeah, Dawn.
Just rinse it out good.
Actually, just like Jimmy Absher says, Dawn Platinum. The Dawn Platinum's what I use.
That's what Smoke with the Dawn Platinum Power Wash. New commercial opportunity.
That would be nice.
What's the
Somebody
difference in
line that
Dawn
up.
Platinum?
It's just a more concentrated.
Is that the spray bottle?
No, it's still in the regular bottle.
You seen the spray bottles?
Huh?
Saw that Easter.
Ooh, I gotta get on some Dawn spray now.
It's like
Where you get
literally
it?
a spray bottle. I guess everywhere, but it's
Walmart?
legit.
Don't make me go to Walmart.
Hey, no.
Anywhere else I can get it.
We've talked about the show title and the giveaway, but do we have a trivia question?
Yeah, I came up
Okay.
with one.
All right.
It does pertain to me because
Well, I didn't know.
1 ounce.
no, not 1 ounce. That's not the answer. That's not the answer. But all right, so y'all, thanks for tuning in. We had over 100 viewers. I know we're down to right at 100 now. Appreciate the comments. Appreciate the question as always. Sorry again, we've only had three opportunities to have a live show this year. These will be archived on our YouTube channel, Let's Talk Fish YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. I'm getting better at that now that I know what it is. And
Is that what it's called, a notification bell?
I think so, yeah.
Is that what it's called?
That's
Tyler?
the best name they could come up for that?
Well,
Pretty much.
What should they call it?
I don't know. That's just a lot to say, the notification bell.
What's Wheeler say? Ding?
Yeah, I mean, there's
I think
got to
when
be a
you
better
hit it,
name
it dings,
for it.
doesn't it? Oh, you don't know, Jeff. Anybody know anything in here about YouTube?
I just know it pops up on your screen when you go live and drops down.
Well, it popped up on my screen when we went live, so I must have hit it. I was notified.
I'm not notified. I need to be notified as well.
Yeah, that's right, Ryan. Scott did do that on his YouTube channel. He showed me following, and then McCoy, being the funny man that he is, decided to show it again like 5 seconds later in like I think it was like semi-slow motion or something.
Hey, that's one of those that's going to stick with you. Like,
yeah,
like every year you'll have to repost that video on the anniversary of the event.
perfect. Mine's got to be me looking like an idiot. Why can't it be me doing something?
Dude,
cool?
when I hit myself in the head setting the hook
that's
at
been
Clear
played.
Lake, like that was like 12 years ago, and that's
still-
like 2 or 3 times a
That's
year
still
it shows
the
up.
greatest hook set of all time to this day.
Like I like to watch it. It makes me laugh. Like that's when you know it's a good blooper, but when it makes you laugh.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, right under the check, please. Maureen Brown said, "Can you do me a big favor and center the jersey?"
Messing
on the
with
right
OCD over
under
here,
the
Jeff.
check. Got some serious OCD in Miss Maureen tonight. She said you need to center that jersey. You're a little off.
It's not supposed to be centered.
Oh, why?
So the checks are centered on the wall, but the jerseys are the same distance apart of the chimney.
Oh. Okay, I hope that satisfies her.
And then that
I gotta
check
go
is
with
centered
Maureen.
on that.
I would have to have it centered under the.
So you disagree with?
I
Jeff?
I wasn't trying to center it. It's,
Oh yeah, Troy, bring it. I hope to meet you too. He said he's going to bring a case of glass bottled Sundrop for us when we come to Wisconsin.
Oh, that would be
Ooh,
good.
I may bring one back. For
The glass
Thrift.
bottles are good.
They are. It's something about drinking a Sundrop
It's not as carbonated. Like
or
they're
a
good.
Coca-Cola out of a glass bottle.
Yeah,
it's always tastes
cold
better.
glass bottle.
Yeah,
Why
cold
is that?
glass bottle.
I don't know. It's just good.
It is good.
When you go into an old convenience store, a little corner mart or something, they got that old.
Oh, the old metal cooler with
old
the
metal
lift
cooler
up
with
lid.
the lift up lid,
Yeah.
ice, and they got the what people around here call them sweetie dopes or something, right?
You talking about with the slide out bottles?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had to put the quarters in and slide
Yes.
it to that white thing?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's the deal right
We
there.
got to get one of those.
We need one of those in here.
in the corner.
That's free. Not a quarter.
I will take care
We
of
need
that.
one in here that actually doesn't take quarters. You just push it and the drink comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Lice.
All
I'll
right.
get one.
Jimmy, thanks for joining. We had several people on here that said it was their first live show and they enjoyed it.
Cool. We had no sound for 5 minutes, and the topic
Now
is
we're
totally
good.
different.
Now we're good.
Jeff muted us. He's playing jokes on
Well,
us.
actually, it just
Late April
updated.
Fools.
The app updated, and it has a whole nother column here. So we got to figure it out now.
Are you? So you're calling out the winner of the
What's
trivia?
L8? Jared Kemper said we need L8 in your life.
I don't know.
in
We're
our
gonna have to
life.
look it up.
Said
We're gonna
it's a
have to
Kentucky
Google it.
drink.
What is that? A drink?
It's a drink.
Google
L8.
it, Jeff. L8. A L
Is it
E
ginger ale? I
dash
guess.
8.
Ginger ale.
Tyler, L8. Capital
somebody Google it.
-8.
I'm on it.
Google
We got
it.
the Google box
All right,
working.
we're going to ask the question. Whoever gets it, I'll follow.
Matt's
the
calling
I'm
the
only
answer
one that knows
because
the
I don't
answer,
even know
actually.
the question.
Ale8.
This is for a bottle of bait fuel, and I'll
and
give you.
a can of Ale8.
What is it?
I don't know.
Oh, it comes in a glass bottle too. That's cool.
Ginger ale
Ginger ale.
It's like a ginger ale.
from Kentucky.
That'd go good with my drink.
It's Kentucky's.
With a
it's
Kentucky
Kentucky's original
Buffalo
soft
Trace.
drink.
Oh, it is a good Kentucky
Huh?
bourbon.
It's Kentucky's original soft drink.
Huh. Apparently the only place you can get it's Kentucky. I've never
There
seen it
you
before.
go.
Oh, only sold in Kentucky, boys.
Well, I can order it right now.
Get us some to mix with the
It's gonna-
Buffalo Trace in Matt's cup.
No, well, he's got Buffalo Trace in
Yeah,
there. We can mix
you
that
mix
when
a
we get it.
Kentucky. It's only fitting you mix a
L8.
Kentucky
Oh, Ash Link
ginger
said it's
ale with a
ginger
good
ale.
Kentucky
Oh,
bourbon.
they got all kind of stuff.
Kentucky's version of ginger ale. He said it's awesome. We need some more Zots while you're ordering.
Oh, dude, that's
so we
interesting.
need a drink machine, Zots, Ale8. Tyler, can you write all this down?
Tyler, get your pen. There's your paper. All right, here we go. Trivia question time.
Trivia
We're
question
10 minutes
time.
over. We appreciate everybody joining in. This is for a bottle of bait fuel. And I know you all need a bottle if you don't already have a bottle. Trivia question. I caught a fish in practice
1
at
ounce.
Chick. Wrong, Jeff. It's not 1 ounce. I
That's
caught
like
a fish
falling on
in
a
practice
boat.
at Chick, and I actually posted a picture of it to my social media, but I did not say the weight, so don't go searching for the pic because the weight's not posted on there. I want to know in pounds and ounces what that fish weighed. I did weigh the fish on my catch commander that Thrift.
Are
gave
you the
me.
only one that knows the answer?
Well, yeah.
I don't know the answer.
All right, I don't either.
I didn't even see the picture.
He doesn't follow me on social media.
I do, but I didn't see the. I may have saw it and just don't
Hey,
remember.
I'm gonna mute. And
All
you
right,
can-
got a winner. Got a winner. Got a
Already?
winner.
What is
got
it?
a winner.
That didn't take long.
Good night. I'm talking about I had 40 answers come in at one time.
I did too. I don't know the answer, but they all look good.
Brian Schuster. I hope I did not butcher your name, Brian.
8-1?
8-1.
Nice.
8-1. That is the correct answer. It was an 8-1 Chickamauga stud, and you win the bottle of bait fuel. So, Brian, what we need you to do, that took like 10 seconds.
Well,
It's
he
like-
actually,
was
his
quick.
next answer was 8-2. He was going down the line.
He hit it on the first try. That's pretty good.
8-1. It was 8-1. All right, so Brian, what we need you to do, send us a message on Facebook. Send us a message on our Facebook page with your shipping information, your mailing address, and we will get you your bottle of bait fuel out to you ASAP. All right, so that was quick.
That was quick.
Short, sweet, easy. I saw a 211. Come on, Bo. I wouldn't post a 211 practice bass. If you're going to post a practice bass, make it worthwhile. I don't even like posting practice bass. Everybody's doing it, though, so you catch an 8-1, it deserves a post. Actually,
That is
Ike,
very true.
Ike,
I seen that. He called it like a 10 something.
and he waited till 2 weeks after. I know Ike's a busy man.
Yeah.
But if I'd have caught a 10-pounder,
I would have posted it that day.
I would have posted it that minute.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course, then
That's
all the late guys will be riding around looking for you. You'd be like,
It don't matter. What's the odds of going back
I know,
and catching
I know.
You're not going to go catch the 10 whatever again.
I caught a 9-pounder at St. John's in practice.
Yeah.
It was off a Main River laydown. And I mean, I never caught a fish remotely close to that in the tournament.
Right.
And I don't think anybody would have gone there and caught one anyway. It was random.
That's a lot of times the way those giants are. They're
100%.
They're
Nomadic.
loners. They're random fish out by themselves. Unless you're on a lake that's got a big population of big fish like Fork or somewhere like that. But
Yep. That's
most
right.
places a giant like that's by itself, and you're probably not going to catch him again.
That's right. All right, Brian, don't forget, send us your shipping information through a private message on our Facebook page, Let's Talk Fish on Facebook, and we will get your bottle of bait fuel out to you ASAP. Guys, gals, it's been fun. Well, you got anything to add, Thrift?
Let me get the camera on you. You got anything to add?
I do not think I do have anything to add.
No?
No, I do not. I'll actually be leaving next Tuesday to
course you
go
are.
to Lake of the Ozarks for our fourth heavy hitters for our fourth Bass Pro Tour event. And so I won't be on the show next week. Matt may line up a guest.
Can you leave Wednesday?
I could, but I'd have to drive like 16 hours, and I don't want to do that the day before practice.
Practice starts on Thursday?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't blame you. I wouldn't
Yeah.
do that either.
yeah. So I'm going to leave Tuesday and go try to catch some Lake of the Ozark bass. I've
Should
never
be
been
good
there.
up there.
I've never been there before. I'm looking forward to it. It's got a lot of boat docks, and that's pretty much all I know about it. So I'm looking forward to it.
So what are you thinking, just real quick, like Lake of the Ozarks? I think Ozark Lake's mid-April. A lot of fish would still,
I'm thinking spawn.
yeah, a lot of fish would be spawning.
Yeah, I'm thinking full-on spawn. But
Full-on spawn.
I don't know. It's going to be fun either way. I fished Table Rock pretty much the same time of year, and it was a full-on spawn. So I'm hoping that's the way it's going to be. It should be fun. Should be a lot of fish caught.
And that's pretty relatively clear water, isn't it? Like the
I
Ozarks?
think so. I literally know nothing about it other than it's got a lot of boat docks. And the only reason I know that is because Zeon Hidden told me that about 10 years ago when we were on the Chevy team.
I don't think there's an Ozark Lake in April that sucks.
I agree with that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, if you go April 1st, you could potentially be in a blizzard, but other than that, you're probably late enough where you'll be all right.
Yeah, I think so.
you'll be all
I
right.
think so.
Oh, that's Missouri too, isn't it?
Yeah, Missouri.
You know what they got up there?
A
A lot of turkeys.
turkeys.
A lot
in
of
Missouri.
turkeys.
I
yeah.
never would have thought that.
Yeah, there's place. There's no, I don't have. I'm Missouri. I've never killed one. I need to add that state to my list. Tennessee was a new one for me this year. So my buddy that I was actually hunting with in Tennessee. Never mind. I'm not gonna get off on turkey tangent. I gotta stop. All right, y'all.
Oh, Lordy.
Thank y'all for tuning in, guys and gals. It's been fun. Another episode of Let's Talk Fish. What is this, Jeff? Like 100 and what?
I thought we were at 2-something. Are we?
No, it's like
Oh, yeah, we just hit 100 last year.
mid 120s probably.
Mid 120s ish, somewhere over 120 shows.
We're racking up pretty good until y'all split tours,
We were.
and then it's
It's been
a little more
hectic.
difficult.
Been
Yeah.
a little hectic.
Ryan Sowers, I got to give a turkey tip.
Oh, my God.
He said Michigan turkey season starts Saturday. I will give you one good turkey tip. I promise. This is
You ever hunted
Go
turkeys in
outside
Michigan?
at daylight and slam
No.
the truck door real hard. If one gobbles, you can kill him.
not, not at daylight,
That's-
but after lunch possibly.
Not at daylight. Turkeys will gobble at anything. They're stupid.
I'll tell you one tip, and it took me a long time to learn this because the most fun, one of the most fun parts of turkey hunting is calling, and everybody gets really addicted to calling. And I'll tell you, less is more, and just put that in your pocket and save it. Less is more. Once you get him interested, once he's responding, just give him some time. Because a lot of times them suckers will be coming in fast, coming in hot, and you may not know it. You keep calling to them, and you overcall, you screw your situation up. So less is more. That's my tip. That's my tip of the week.
That sounds good.
What do you think, Jeff?
100%.
100%.
I always.
Tyler, you good? You good? All right. So thanks for another great show, Thrift. It's good to see you. I don't get to see you hardly
Hello.
anymore.
I'm glad to be back.
But when we can't go fishing, we'll do what, Thrift?
We're going to sit here and talk fishing, of course.